Hi everyone, I hope you're well wherever you are, whatever you're up to. In this video I wanted to show you one of my latest makes that I've made for Sophia, my daughter, who is, she's 2 this week, which has been very exciting. And the make that I have done for her is this really cute Pauline Alice coat. Here it is, just here. So it's made from the Pauline Alice mini collection of patterns that came out recently, and it's got 3 different designs included with it. So it's got this, they're all meant to be sort of unisex, and it's got this kind of simple, loose, sort of blousey, shirty top, and the coat, which is what I made, and then the dungarees as well. And the size range that comes with the pattern is 3 months up to 36 months. So I made Sophia the 24 months because that's what age she is, but she also does correspond to the height that is for that size as well. So because the design of the garment's quite loose, I decided to just sort of go for the height in terms of picking a size, and it has come up a little bit longer than what I thought it would, but I think it looks really great. So I wanted to just show you some of the details of this make, and I've also taken a few videos of Sophia in it, although she just kept running away from me, so a lot of the videos ended up kind of being her back, but I do have a couple of videos of her. And then I also wanted her to try and choose the lining that was going to be on the inside, because it's all fully lined, so the pattern pieces come with, there's like separate pattern pieces for the lining, so it's a fully lined coat. I wanted her to choose the lining fabric, but it didn't go quite to plan. It's what I had hoped it would, but anyway, I'll show you that later. But I used our Millerain waxed cotton canvas for this. This is the same type of fabric that I used for my Kellyanne rack, which you might have seen in some of my older videos. Made that last year, and I totally love this fabric. It is just so nice to work with. It's not really sort of thick and heavy and sort of saturated with wax. It's got a nice sort of subtle waxy texture. It's made in Britain as well. It's made up in Lancashire by a really lovely company called British Millerain, which is like still sort of family run, and it's been around for decades, I think, maybe even 100 years, can't remember now. Anyway, it's just really lovely fabric, and the technology that it's got on, it's called Stay Wax, and it's like a trademark technology that's unique to that company, and it means that it's actually machine washable, so it's great for kids' clothes especially. I didn't pre-wash mine. I don't really think you need to. It's not gonna shrink or anything like that, but it's just sort of reassuring to know that I could wash it if I did need to. But it does actually kind of wipe clean quite easily, which is good as well. And it's more like shower proof or kind of splash proof. You know, if it's absolutely tipping it down with rain, then yeah, you know, she might get a little bit wet, but I probably wouldn't take her out in that anyway. So yeah, it's really quite a simple construction in terms of how it comes together. So it's got these raglan sleeves here, and I added in a few extra sort of top stitching details. So I decided to top stitch the seams at the raglan, so I did that to the front and the back bodice as well. And then on the back of the coat, it's got this sort of like flap section here, which is lined as well, and I decided to top stitch the bottom part of that. So it does tell you to underline it, understitch it, sorry, but instead of understitching, I just top stitched it because I think that looks a little bit nicer, nice feature. And then I also top stitched the hood as well, so I did that to the stitch the seam allowances to the centre panel, and I did that on the main outer coat and on the lining as well. Which I think just helps it to all sort of sit a bit flatter. And then I also top stitched, once I'd sort of put it all together, I also top stitched the lining to the main coat as well, just so it would sit a wee bit flatter around the neckline. So I added that into. I also added a little hook so that it could hang up on her peg at nursery, and that is just stitched in between the lining body and the hood as well, so that's just like a nice addition to hang up. You obviously could hang up with the hood if you wanted, but I added that in. And then my lining, which I totally love, so this is Liberty Tropical Trails lining. I decided to just go all out. Really, the coat is for my own satisfaction as much as it's necessity for Sophia to have a coat, so I just decided to make it really nice. But I just used some scraps that I had of a viscose linen to line the sleeves, because I thought it's maybe a bit excessive to line sleeves in Liberty. She doesn't really need that. So it looks maybe like a little bit random, but quite cute anyway, and it works. It's a wee bit more slippy, that fabric. So yeah, I did want her to try and pick the lining, because we had a few Liberty ones that I thought matched. We've got a dinosaur one and one that's got deers on it, but I'll show you a few clips from when I took her to the shop. She ended up just wanting to kind of play in the shop, really. So Sophia, what are we going to do today in the shop?
You
going to choose your fabric for your coat?
Yeah.
What colour do you think you like?
Green.
A green one? Okay, what other colours do you like?
Red.
Red. Okay, well your coat's a maroon colour and we're picking the lining. So we need a colour that's going to go with red. Should we go and see what we can find?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Going to the shop?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Sophia, we need to find your fabric. Let's go this way and find it. You gonna put that back?
Just on this one.
Does it? Are you sure? So yeah, I had all good intentions of her coming in and being like, I want that one, mummy. But she didn't. She just wanted to mess around and play with stuff that she wasn't supposed to play with. So I ended up just choosing it myself, basically. And I'm trying to justify if I can make my own version of this coat. And I'm thinking about making the paper cut waver, which is also fully lined, and it's got raglan sleeves as well, so it'd be like virtually the same jacket, really. So I'm seeing if I can convince myself that it's really needed. I mean, it is April. You get April showers, right? Although there's not much left of April. But anyway, I'll let you know if I decide to actually do it. So the other details that I wanted to show you on the jacket were the pockets. The pockets are just really nice, and it gets you to put two of these poppers on as well. And the layers of pockets, there's kind of two parts to it, so you end up with this sort of little mini pocket on the front, and then you've got the bigger pocket in between. I think for the smaller sizes maybe you wouldn't need that. I don't know, it might end up feeling like quite a lot if it's quite a small on the smaller sizes, so you could just leave that bit off and just have a patch pocket. But I think it does add quite a nice detail. I struggled quite a lot to press the seam allowances back, especially around the curves, but if you've ever used all over and S patterns before, quite often what they recommend on parts like that in garments is that you use a longer stitch to sort of base a pressing guide, so that you just press it back to where the stitch line is, and then round the corners you put a little line of like easing stitches, so again long stitches just round the corner, and then it's a bit like when you're sort of easing in a sleeve and you're not gathering it, you're just sort of pulling on these longer basting stitches to try and kind of bring the fabric together. So I did that at the corners of these pockets, and it worked really well because this fabric is quite firm. It doesn't have a lot of give, well, it doesn't really have any give in it, to be honest. So that I found that really useful to do that on the pockets. And then one of the most challenging bits that I found of this jacket was coming to bag out the lining, and I just felt like the instructions were a little bit sort of vague when it came to that bit, and I haven't bagged out a lot of linings in this way before, but I did email Pauline and Alice, and she said that they were going to try to do a tutorial on it with pictures and things quite soon, so hopefully if you decide to make it, then that would be there as a bit of an aid. But if you check out the blog post that's linked to this video, I'll put the link in the comments below. You'll see some pictures that I took while I was making it, because I had to sort of just kind of work it out and try a few things to see if it worked. So in the end I ended up with this kind of diagonal seam at the front, and I ended up just sewing the lining to the facing part of the jacket right down to the very bottom, but stopped a centimetre up from the bottom because that's the seam allowance. And then I did the same along the bottom of the coat, so sewing the lining to the bottom hem of the coat, and I did that so that they kind of met at a point. And then I'm not explaining this very well, you need to look at the pictures in the blog basically, but you could just try looking at, there's some other tutorials, I think there's one on maybe on the Grainline website that's about bagging out linings, so you might find that sort of useful as well. But hopefully this Pauline Alice one will come out soon, and then that'll be a good guide to getting it right. So here is a little clip of Sophia running around in the garden. We're getting our garden done at the moment, and I actually filmed this when we had that freak snow back in March, which is why there's some snow on the ground. It's not like that now, thankfully. So overall, I'm so pleased with this little coat. I think it's really, really cute, and I totally want one for myself as well. As I said before, there is a blog post that's linked to this video, and it has got links to the fabric that I used and the snaps that I used as well. You can get them all in the online shop, and we do have other colours. If this is the first time you're hearing me talk about the Millerain fabric, we do have other colours, and we've got one new colour which is like a really bright fisherman yellow colour, which I think would work perfectly for a coat for a little person or a big person too. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, to just hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on my next video. I've got a really good one coming up next week where I'm going to be sort of comparing certain types of patterns similar to the shirt one that I did before, so I'm just finishing off putting that together. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.